Welcome to the Country Hipster Podcast. My name is Paul. I am the Country Hipster. That music you just heard was none other than the Unholy Four and their hit song, Dirty Knife. Check out the Unholy Four on Instagram, Bandcamp, Spotify, Apple Music, or wherever you can find the Unholy Four. Real quick to business, Friday, tomorrow, I am playing at the Bristol AOH in Bristol, PA. Starting around 7:30 p.m. And then Saturday, I am at the Horse in Sellersville. OttsvilleRecordGarage.com promo code. That's the podcast specific promo code birthday. Get you 15% off of your entire order. And the next Wine and Vinyl for pop-up store is Saturday the 15th from 12 to 6 at Viva Alpha Winery. That's where we had our first one of this year, and we'll be back at Viva Alpha on Saturday the 15th. So hopefully you can stop out. We'll be selling records and spinning records and having a good old time. All right, so we got a little bit of a different setup here than we're used to, but it's all good. We'll make it work. We're gonna have some fun here. Okay, so I'm not sure how it's gonna look to everybody, but to my far right, all the way over, is my brother and co-host Adam, the country notorious B.I.G.
It's happening, guys.
No money, no promise. That's right. And then to my immediate right is we welcome back for a record-setting 8th appearance on the Country Hipster Podcast, our resident person of all things German and Rabbit Rescue. Welcome back, Kristin.
Hi.
Hi. All right.
Thanks for having me today.
Yeah, no problem. Do you have anything to plug today as far as Love and Buns Rescue goes?
We have Bunfest coming up. It's on Father's Day.
Okay.
It's an event, all things bunny.
What is entailed in Bunfest?
So we're actually going to have talks by several vets and a company that grows hay. And,
Hey.
And, and like lots of vendors with rabbit related products and vendors for humans too. We actually, I think, have like a bakery and a confectionery, and there's going to be a caricature artist and some fun stuff. So yeah.
Cool.
I think it's at the Haverford Rec Center.
Okay.
From 10 to 4, I want to say.
Nice.
On Father's Day.
On Father's Day. All right. It's cool. Should be fun. Should be fun. So,
and by the time this airs, you'll have had a birthday.
I will. Yes. My birthday is on Tuesday. So you're still older than me.
Happy birthday in advance.
Thank you.
Past tense or whatever's happening. I'm going to pretend you didn't say that. My computer just did a weird thing, so I was confused. But no, I'm not older than you.
Yes, you are.
No.
By like a week, you're older than me, I think. Yeah.
No, I'm still young.
Yeah. What's everybody drinking tonight, Adam? You pounding down the PBR?
PBR. Apparently, according to the case, it's the 180th anniversary of PBR.
Yes, and they have they apparently have a 180 can case that's available to buy.
Do they really? That's what's up.
They do. Yeah, I saw that on their Instagram, and I have the Coors Banquet beer going on here. I picked up some of this. I was just like, man, I couldn't decide what to get. It was basically between this or the Chelada variety pack.
Gross.
Which I know you would be so upset if you didn't get a piece of the Chelada variety pack here. So I ended up going with the Coors Light. Yeah, there you go.
It's only
Kristin, what? Yeah, okay. What
I
are you
actually
drinking?
am just drinking water.
Okay.
And I have like a hydration thing in it because I have a headache. So trying to stave that off.
Okay. Well, hopefully we don't make your headache worse today. So, all right. So we'll get right into it. We'll get into the factoids. We are here to talk about the dead milkman Jesus fucking Christ. Beelzebubba. What's that?
Beelzebubba.
Thank you, man. I'm having it's been a long day, so it's been a long weekend. I actually just finished playing my show and got home and set us up. So, but yeah, Beelzebubba. Thank you very much. By the Dead Milkman is episode 63. And here are the factoids. This is the 4th studio album, which was released in 1988 for the American satirical punk rock band, the Dead Milkmen. This album peaked at 101 on the Billboard 200 due to the success of their most well-known song, Punk Rock Girl. It was released as a single and debuted on the Billboard Modern Rock Tracks in January 1989 at 27. And it spent 10 weeks on the charts, peaking at 11 in February of 1989 as well. The album was... Hold on, what's this? Oh, it was released on Enigma Records, which is the record label, which fell under the EMI umbrella, and so it's basically two pretty big record labels that were mentioned there, Enigma, and then EMI at one point was like the biggest record, like the biggest record label in like the world. EMI was, and had like Queen and the Beatles and all that kind of stuff, and I think even Pink Floyd was EMI. Oh, excuse me. But Enigma specifically is responsible for a lot of alternative and rock bands getting their releases. So here's some of the bands and artists that appear on the Enigma label, and that's 7 Seconds, The Cramps, the Dickies, yes, Mojo Nixon, Motley Crue, Motorhead, Sonic Youth, friends of the podcast They Might Be Giants, friends of the podcast Poison, friends of the podcast Slayer, as well as Striper, and of course we would be remiss if we did not mention that Enigma also has David Cassidy. Yes,
nice.
David Cassidy. Yes,
Striper's touring right now.
Are they really?
They're going to be at City Winery,
like in downtown Philly,
I think.
Oh wow!
Unless there's another City Winery somewhere else.
Well, there's ones like a different place. No, that's the only one in like the Philly area. But I know there's one in like it's like a chain.
Then maybe they could be somewhere else. But yeah, they're definitely coming around.
They're torn. Wow. I don't know. I think I might need a little Yellow and Black Attack in my life. Adam, are you familiar with Striper?
The name sounds familiar, and it just might be of hearing it like in passing, but. If you played anything by them, I would not know who the fuck it was.
Is Katai familiar with Striper?
I have no idea. She's
okay.
in the other room.
Oh, okay, because that would be definitely up her alley as far as like 80s hair metal goes. Striper was a Christian heavy metal band at the height of hair metal, and used to like they used to throw Bibles out to the crowd at their concerts.
As you do.
So, yep. So,
big fucking book. That's causing injuries.
No, man, it's causing prayer. That's what it's causing.
Salvation is what it's causing.
Yes, that's what it's causing. Another quick factoid about the album. The cover of the album features Rodney Anonymous's father. That is the male figure on the front of the cover there.
That's Greg Anonymous?
What's that?
Greg Anonymous? That's cool.
Greg Anonymous. Who's Greg Anonymous?
I just assume that's his name.
Oh no! It's actually they actually list him as Senior. Yeah, they put him as Rodney Anonymous Senior as for credits on the album cover. So so this is my pick. We know that I am all about this album. So it's fun. It has a lot of great songs that are not named Punk Rock Girl, and I'm not trying to take anything away from Punk Rock Girl. It's just that. And a lot of people who don't know the Dead Milkmen are thinking the Dead Milkmen automatically go, "Oh, Punk Rock Girl." You know what I mean? So, so there's a lot of really good songs on this album, and it is a great album. Adam, what are your feelings on Beelzebubba?
Beelzebubba, learn to fucking read.
That's what I said.
It's a good album. Listening to it, it's kind of all over the fucking place. Like you have nonsense bullshit, like RC's mom, where he's just talking about beating his wife, but then you have like legitimate songs like "I Walk the Thinnest Line" and "Punk Rock Girl," and it's just kind of hard to figure out what it's like. It's almost as if they can't decide what they want to be.
It's funny. Go ahead. Well, as I was saying, is it's funny because like you say that like kind of like it's like all over the place, but that's really kind of the Dead Milkmen in a nutshell. Though.
Yeah.
Like they are kind of all over the place, and you mentioned RC's mom, which is basically if you listen to it, especially the little clip that you hear at the end, that's actually about pretty much James Brown and how he would beat his wife and stuff like that. So that's actually what that song's about. But
I texted Paul and said, "Does that make me a bad feminist? Like that I randomly sing that song in my head and I like that? It's like catchy."
it is, and my response to you was
a bad person.
Yeah, no, it's like it makes like that makes you a bad feminist as much as I said in my response that Tiny Town from Big Lizard in the Backyard makes you a racist. I mean, until Jason Aldean recently put out like Tiny Town again, but not ironically. It's basically it is satire, but it's also kind of like, bringing social political issues like to the forefront in different ways. So it is, yeah. But yeah. So what else are you thinking about this album, Adam?
No, it's a good listen. Actually, I was when you were getting into the when you were starting the transition to how I feel about it, I was frantically searching to confirm the name of their greatest hits album because that's where I first heard of the Dead Milkmen. Paul played "Death Rides a Pale Cow" for me, and I enjoyed it a lot then, and I hadn't really delved much into other Dead Milkmen, but I did enjoy this a good deal. It's just kind of this weird, goofy, nonsense bullshit that's fun to listen to.
That is true. Yeah. That is true. Because I know you did say you were looking forward to this album as well. So
I was strictly because I know I had been familiar with their greatest hits album from you, and I was looking to dive into the non greatest hits tracks.
Which actually, from what I understand, what I read on the Wikipedia is that 6 of the tracks from this album are actually on the greatest hits album.
Yeah, it's got Stewart, Punk Rock Girl, Thinnest Line. I want to say Death Rides a
Smoking Banana Peels.
Smoking Banana Peels. Mm-hmm. I want to say it's got Life is Shit as well.
Yep.
And I don't know what this is.
Might be the guitar song or something like that. Yeah. But no, there's a bunch that are on there. So nice. Kristin, what are your thoughts?
I like this album, obviously, or else I wouldn't have come on for this one. I do think in the future, though, you just need to assign albums to people and just be like, this is your episode. This is your episode. I think that would be hysterical.
Probably would be, yeah.
No, I really like this album. I think there's a lot that I like to sing along. And I was kind of annoyed at first when it wasn't Big Lizard, because I'm like, oh, Big Lizard's definitely better. But then I was like, oh my God, there are a lot of really good songs on this album too. I always forget. So yeah, fun stuff.
So I did say like in like the previous episodes that like, this is not my favorite Dead Milkmen album. Big Lizard is my favorite Dead Milkmen album. But when I started listening to this week, I was just like, I actually started questioning that statement because of how good this album is. So I actually went back throughout the week and did basically like almost like a side-by-side comparison to see like wait a minute, have I been thinking about this backwards my whole life? Because as we've said, usually your fondest memory of a band is your first exposure to them. We've kind of said that throughout the whole season 1. And Big Lizard was my first exposure to the Dead Milkmen.
Mine
but
too.
Yeah, but Big Lizard's better. It's just it is a better album. Not to take anything away from this album. I think Big Lizard is just more of a complete album. There's no to very little filler on Big Lizard, whereas this album, it has some songs that just kind of feel like they're there to fill out the album. Songs that I could kind of be like, like whatever. So, the fuck is this mean? Oh yeah, there we go.
Can't read your notes.
No, I couldn't remember what my little abbreviation meant there for a second. So it took me a second. I don't think you can talk about this album without talking about Punk Rock Girl because of the success that it had. It is a great song. It brought the Dead Milkmen to the MTV crowd. I even remember, I don't know if you remember this, Kristin. I know you don't remember this, Adam, because I don't even know if you knew what Club MTV was with Downtown Joey Brown. Do you know what that was? So Club MTV with Downtown Joey Brown, so that everybody knows, was like, it came on like at like 3-4 o'clock in the afternoon, and it was supposed to be like a big club, and they showed some videos. It was like a dance club, and people were dancing, and they were showing
like
the videos.
Dancing on Air.
Basically, yeah. It was basically,
You're too young for that too, Adam.
Yeah, Dancing on Air or American Bandstand.
Dance Party USA.
Yes. My ex-wife was on Dance Party USA. She was on actually a couple episodes of it.
A lot of people I know her.
Yeah, but that other one was on it too. That other friend you had, because she was with my ex-wife there. The Dead Milkmen actually got on and performed, and I say that in quotes because they were lip syncing, and they made it very obvious that they were lip syncing. They performed "Punk Rock Girl" on Club MTV, which is kind of crazy when you think about like a Philly punk rock band like singing about like Zipperhead down on South Street, and the Philly Pizza Company, which like rest in peace Zipperhead and the Philly Pizza Company. Give it up. It's pretty crazy to see them on there. But the video was it was in the rotation on MTV besides the normal 120 minutes on Sunday night and whatnot. And another cool thing about the video for Punk Rock Girl is it was filmed at Eastern State Penitentiary, which is an old prison in the Fairmount section of Philadelphia.
All of you fans of Halloween would know Eastern State Penitentiary.
Exactly. I actually did not realize that they filmed it in Eastern State Penitentiary until I went to Eastern State Penitentiary and took the tour. And at the end, it like had movies that featured the penitentiary and all that kind of stuff. And like then I saw like the Dead Milkmen. I was like, oh shit, that's crazy. So. But yeah, no, I like this album. I like the band. I mean,
never been to Eastern State. I don't give a shit about horror.
Well, no. If I never went to the horror, the Halloween thing, the haunted, whatever the fuck they call it.
Like horror behind the walls or something.
Terror behind the walls. That's what. Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah, that's just stupid. But you can go and tour the prison like when it's not a big haunted house, and it is actually pretty neat. And at one point, Al Capone was even.
I would say Eastern State Penitentiary is where Capone died, didn't he?
No, I don't know where he died. I don't think it was there.
I thought he died in Eastern State.
No, he was only in Eastern State for like a year, but like they have his cell basically made up the way that his cell was, and it's like, and you see all the other cells which are like really small and shitty. Even before it was like falling down, it was small and shitty. But then you look at his cell, and it's like got a couch and a radio, and it's all nice and all this kind of stuff because he was using his mob money to.
He died in Florida.
Okay, in a Florida prison, or did he actually get released?
I don't know. Wait,
because I know he also did time. Al Capone also did time in Alcatraz.
Due to his failing health, Capone was released from prison on November 16th, 1939, and referred to Johns Hopkins Hospital in Baltimore for the treatment of his syphilitic paralysis. Can't read.
Okay. I do know he had syphilis pretty bad. Yeah,
he did. He had syphilis to the point where he lost his fucking mind.
Mm-hmm.
Which it starts in your crotch and ends in your brain.
Or it's like a direct route to the brain.
Yeah, it's exactly
with most guys.
Yeah, apparently he died in his home in Palm Island, Florida.
Okay, there you go. Kristin, do you have any thoughts on Al Capone and his death?
I don't. I'm sorry. I'm being distracted by a tiny rabbit who's trying to escape.
That's okay. It happens. So Adam, what obviously you like the song, or the album, you think it's all over the place. Do you have any additional thoughts about the album in general?
It's I spent the entire time listening to the album because Paul and I were I was looking through to make sure Beelzebubba, the proper version of Beelzebubba, was on iTunes. and I found the album Metaphysical Graffiti.
Okay.
And I said to Paul, "This is a play on Led Zeppelin," and Paul
Yep.
said, "Yeah." And then listening to this album, I'm trying to think of all the things that they are satirizing in their music. I don't know why, but Bleach Boys reminds me very much of Sniff Some Glue by Ramones. Like that, I feel like that's where they're kind of getting at. There's a I was driving when I thought of all this shit, and of course I didn't write it down, so now I've fucking forgotten it. But that was actually a fun part of listening to the album, was trying to figure out like what they're actually making fun of in the process.
Okay. What's kind of cool is when you see them live, if something's going on politically, like in the world, either locally or nationally, they very much work that into their songs as they're doing it. So which is really cool, and keeps them, keeps it like more up to date. I need another beer. Kristin,
do they still
what's
tour?
up? Oh yeah, yeah.
They do.
Yes. We will get into that in a second, but yeah, no, they still tour. They're still playing. They have been back together. They reunited and have released albums and singles and all that kind of stuff in the most recent years. Actually, I think they just had an album come out in the fall. I think, I'm not 100% sure, but I know they did release a single that was called "Grandpa's Not a Racist. He Just Voted for One." So, which is actually a pretty good song. But Kristin, other thoughts about this album in general?
Yeah, Quaker City Quiet Pills came out in 2023.
Yeah. There you go.
Sorry.
So you were saying, Kristin?
No, I wasn't saying anything. No, I don't really have any other thoughts about this album.
Okay.
Just that, like, I was just thinking, like, Big Lizard was the first exposure to the Dead Milkmen for me. I just remember my sister bringing home a recorded cassette of it that she like taped from a friend.
That's funny.
Which is so bizarre because that's not her kind of music at all. And I'm pretty sure my brother had one of their albums.
Okay.
But I'm not sure. I don't really remember that part. I just remember the cassette. And I remember like I saw them in college, and that was a whole weird experience. It involved licking bars of soap. It was a very weird.
I'm sorry. What did you just say?
Oh, I was going to the Dead Milkmen show at the Truck with my sister, and these two guys that lived in my dorm were like, "Yo, you're going. Can we get a ride?" So my sister was like, "Yeah, sure." So she drove Tim, and I don't even know who the other guy was. And everybody was like saying how hungry they were. And my sister used to work for like, I don't know what kind of company it was, but she had hotel soap in her console. They were like, "We're really hungry." And she was jokingly said like, "Oh, here's some soap." And they were like licking the soap the whole way. It's just really fucking weird.
Okay.
I think we were probably both like super high or something. I wasn't, so it was just like whatever. Okay. And when we got there, this other guy, Adam, that we went to college with, had to frisk all of us because he worked at the Truck.
Okay. So, nice.
Yeah.
Did he find soap?
He did not find soap. We didn't bring the soap with us, but it was little bars of hotel soap. I forget what company my sister used to work for.
That is weird. That is weird. But hey, you know,
all of my experiences with the Dead Milkmen are weird.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, my first experience was actually through our brother Brian. So I don't know if he had the tape or the CD. I definitely know we did not have the LP, or maybe he had the LP. No, he did. He had the record. He actually had the record, but I did not. But the 1 year for Christmas, he actually bought me a Dead Milkmen Big Lizard in my backyard T-shirt, which I actually, if I find that picture, I'll post it onto the Instagram, which you can follow the Country Hipster Podcast on Instagram by following at the Country Hipster Podcast, all one word. And yeah, so that was really, my first experience with the Dead Milkmen was that album. And finally in high school, was it high school? Yeah, it was high school. I was in high school when I finally got to start seeing them live. And I have actually seen this band live more times than I can actually remember. I don't even know how many times I've seen them. That's how many times I've seen them. And I've also seen some of their individual solo projects as well as side projects. Rodney Anonymous has a couple. I think right now his biggest one is Heinrich, and then Heinrich, yeah, and then 13 Victim, which actually Kristin and I got to go down to Connie's Rick Rack. There you go. Yeah. We got to go down there, and
thought it was Seventh Victim.
So maybe it is Seventh. Yeah, it is Seventh Victim. I'm sorry, you're right. I'm calling out the wrong fucking name.
Yeah, he played with
Janet from, and I can't remember what other band.
Janet. Sylvia Platypus.
Thank you, Sylvia Platypus. Yes, it is Rodney and Janet from Sylvia Platypus. Seventh Victim, not 13th Victim. I apologize to all of the 1,700 members of Seventh Victim for getting the name wrong. Yeah, and I actually most recently got to see Tom, who we apologized to. I got to go on a date with his wife to the Sellersville Theater, God, I don't remember when this was, but it was not that long ago. And Joe Tacklem, did I say his last name right? Talcum, thank you. Joe Jack Talcum.
Talcum powder.
Yes, released a little is a 7-inch, and I think it's called like Record Store or something like that. And it was like the record release party of the 7-inch, and he was doing it solo, so he was performing solo. And what was cool was since I was able to answer a question before he went on, I got a
the test pressing, right?
I got the test pressing. Yes, yeah. Yep. With the picture that he drew and whatnot. I still bought a regular pressing as well, but yeah. So I got a test pressing of this 7-inch there. So, but no, I mean, I've seen, the original lineup. Which I even saw what was their last show, was supposed to be our last show. So what happened was they announced that they were breaking up, and it was their last show, and they set the date, and like it sold out super fucking fast. So I was at that show, and I remember then they added a second date that like the next day. This was at the Trocadero. And I remember when it came out for the last show, they said, hey, guys, you're still here at our last show. Tomorrow's our reunion concert because we're never getting back together. And so that was several times I'd seen them. And
never getting back together?
That's what they said at that show. Yeah, they were never getting back together. And that was with the original lineup. And the original bass player is Dave Blood. Let's give it up for Dave Blood, who passed away in 2000. No, that's too late. Maybe it was 2004. I don't know. He passed away. Which in a way is actually what got the band back together, because after he had passed away, they did a memorial show for him at the Trocadero. Were you at the memorial show, Kristin?
I don't know.
Okay. I was at the memorial show. It was the first time they played together. They got the bass player.
2004.
Okay, yeah. So yeah. Okay, so I was right about it. It was 2004. And they had the guy who plays bass for him now, who was the bass player of Joe's other band, the Low Budgets. He played for the memorial show, and it was like also, besides the memorial show, was to raise money for a monastery that Dave Blood really believed in, and I think was spending time at and whatnot. And it was soon after that they decided to get back together and actually do it.
When was the reunion show? For Dave Blood, the memorial show.
I think that was in 2004.
Maybe I went with Walt.
Possibly.
Was it
possibly.
Halloween show?
Walt, no, that's a different show. Yeah, the Halloween show's Walt. The Halloween show was a different one when they were actually like back together and they started like doing shows again and whatnot.
And that's what I was at.
That's
Halloween
okay.
Show at the Troc.
Okay. Yeah, I did not go to that show because my ex-wife took my oldest daughter to that show, and I took my previous two youngest kids out trick or treating instead.
Yes,
So
I recall that. I recall your ex-wife being there and her texting me and me texting her, but we never connected.
okay, cool. No, go on.
Yeah, no, I just remember there was like a whole thing, like Walt and I were trying to figure out how we were going to dress, and we just decided that we were just going to be 16 and 17-year-old
Nice.
ourselves.
Doc Martens, rolled up jeans, all that kind of stuff.
Basically,
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool.
Jean shorts with little leggings and t-shirt.
There you go. And no, I've seen them, a bunch of times. Seen them since they've been gotten back together. I have not seen them since the pandemic. The last time I actually saw them was at the TLA, another like Halloween time show. Ooh, where are we going, Adam?
Smoke a cigarette.
Oh, all right, taking us out to smoke a cigarette. All right, cool.
I'm going to be a little dark.
Yes, okay, that's all right. But yeah, so that was the last time I saw them was at the TLA. Have you seen them since that show? Because I know we went together.
No, I have not seen them since that show.
Okay. As either have I. And so yes, Adam, to answer your question, they are still playing. They are still touring, and they are putting out new music all the time.
And I have seen them in a cemetery twice.
Twice, yes. Was it twice? Was it 3 times?
Was it
3 times we saw them?
3 times it?
Yeah. Laurel Hill, yeah, because the first time it was me, you, Jeff, and my landlord went to see it. And then they were doing it again like a year later, and Jeff and my landlord were like, we're not going to sit through that again. So you and I just went.
That was the raining one.
Was it raining? Did it? I don't remember it raining, but maybe it did. It might have. Yeah. Now, and then the last.
Just out of curiosity, when a band performs in a cemetery, where exactly do they perform?
In front of a big mausoleum in Mount Laurel, right? Laurel Hill Cemetery.
Laurel Hill Cemetery. In front of a big mausoleum, they set up a little stage for them.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm. And then the last time,
there. So,
movies and concerts,
sitting on graves, watching them.
Yes. A little disrespectful, but continue.
Well, you bring your chair, but I mean,
and your cooler. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was BYO, but the last time we went, that was the last time at Laurel Hill, which was me, you, and my now wife Katie went to see them.
I forgot about that one.
So there were the 3, and that last time they actually had you could still bring your own beer, but they actually had a beer stand and whatnot, and which was kind of cool.
That's rad as fuck.
Yeah, no, it was cool, and it's I definitely have video of that and pictures of that somewhere too. Maybe not the last one, but at least one of them. So
wait, we've seen the Dead Milkmen together 4 times. 3 cemetery, 1 TLA.
Yeah, I guess, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Maybe and then of course other times where I think we were probably at the same concerts, but didn't you know what I mean.
So I've probably seen them about 7 or 8 times then. I think.
Okay. Yeah, I would have. I hear you. It's well. Plus, we're older now. You know what I mean. So
it's kind of impressive because I don't think I've seen any band. I think the band I've seen the most is Take It Back Sunday, and I think I may have seen them 5 times, maybe 6.
Okay.
I mean, I probably would have seen Morrissey a dozen times if he didn't always cancel.
True. Yeah, I would say that I would venture to say that I probably saw them at least 10 times because I know I did start my junior year of high school is when I actually started going to see the Dead Milkmen, and it was always at the Trocadero. So and there was
I was just looking on Apple Music, and they have a live album from the Troc.
Yes, and I was at both of those shows. Yeah, because when it was recorded, I was like, "Oh shit!" Yeah, I was at both of those, both, because they recorded at 2 different shows. I want to say they're maybe 6 months apart or a year apart or something like that. But no, it's two different recordings.
What years are we talking?
I forget. But I remember when that CD came out and I bought it. I looked at the dates. I was like, "Oh no, I was at both of those shows." I want to say it was 90s.
It's interesting that it was so far apart.
What,
I would expect if someone was going to record a live album, you would do it on back-to-back nights or something like that.
I don't think the point of this was to record a live album. I think they just happened to be recording stuff off the soundboard because
okay.
they didn't. This was put out post the band breaking up.
Oh, okay.
So yeah. The live at the track came out after a couple of years after they had broken up, and I think even after the greatest hits album had come out. So it wasn't like they were like, oh, we're just gonna go and do this live performance, and you know what I mean, kind of take like a couple of, like it was literally just like, hey, we happen to have these recordings that sound pretty good, so let's take the best recordings and and put out this album, which I do love that live album. I haven't listened to it in a long time, but it definitely I think captured the Dead Milkmen in their essence, especially like the the original four of them, and on this album that we're talking about, Beelzebubba,
Beelzebubba.
yeah, whatever. I think I have seen them play.
Belisa.
Beelzebubba. That guy. But I think I've seen them play almost every single song on this album live.
Oh wow.
So yeah, which is pretty cool. Like even some of like the more obscure tracks. Like I was just like, oh no, I've seen them play like the Bleach Boys. I've seen them play the Smell, so I can't remember the name. This is how you
Smells.
My Many Smells. I've seen them do that. Like maybe like once over like all the times I've seen them play. But couple of them I'm like, I don't recall ever seeing this live, but it is cool that like and they do that now too, where they'll turn around and they'll just play something where you're like, where, oh my god, I haven't heard this song in like years, and it's usually some sort of weird B-side because that's what they feel like playing. So
they seem very much like a we're gonna do what we want type of thing, and fuck you guys if you don't like it type deal.
That is probably pretty accurate.
Yeah, that seems accurate.
Yeah. Yep. But that's the thing. They're all approachable. They're all like kind of like similar how like we were talking about like Skinny Lister's very approachable. But that's what I was gonna say. So I've seen the Dead Milkmen probably 10 times at least. I'd say at least 10 times. Probably more, but definitely to 10 I would go with like as a safe number. I've seen Skinny Lister 4 times, and that's the band that I've seen the second most amount to the Dead Milkmen. So it's like the Dead Milkmen and then Skinny Lister, and then I think Flogging Molly is after that.
It's crazy that your number goes like 10 and then 4
and then like 3, because I think I've seen Flogging Molly like 3 times. Or actually Flogging Molly might be 4 too. No, it's Flogging Molly's 3. Flogging Molly's 3. So I've seen Skinny Lister more than I've seen Flogging Molly. What's that?
Speaking of Flogging Molly, I keep seeing on my Instagram feed Flogging Molly is apparently doing a cruise.
They do that every year. They've been doing that for a bunch of years now. Yep.
But apparently this year the Gaslight Anthem is playing like at the port to send them off.
Gaslight is on the cruise. I think what's it called? Bronx El Mariachi or something, or El Mariachi Bronx or something like that. I forget the full lineup of this year's Salty Dog Cruise. That's what it's called. It's called the Salty Dog Cruise. But it's an amazing, every year it's the Tossers are back on it this year. They hadn't been on it for a few years. No, it's an amazing lineup this year. Probably the best lineup I've seen in a while. A friend of mine is in a band called the 1916. And they got to do the Flogging Molly cruise, I think, twice, as one of the bands that were playing, which is pretty cool. But like, no, every year they do that. And it's one of those things where I was like, I really don't have much of a desire to go on a cruise, but I think I would want to do the Salty Dog cruise once, So I know Frank Turner did it a couple times.
Just because I have it up. The Gaslight Anthem are playing the Port Show kickoff celebration. The Living End, Fiddler, The Devil Makes 3, Me First and the Gimme Gimmes, Mariachi El Bronx, The Agrolites, Good Riddance, Street Dogs, Scowl, Riverboat Gamblers, The Tossers, Sprints, The Cherry Cokes, and Punk Rock Karaoke.
There you go. Yeah, and it's so like I said, it's a great lineup. And every year they do it. It's a great. There have been years where the lineups like you're like, holy shit, that's the lineup. Like it's been better. Yeah, it's an amazing experience from what I understand. And it's definitely, because the other thing is too, you're on a fucking cruise ship, and like the bands are just walking around. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, hey, cool. There you go. There, you're sitting there, like you walk into the
We're on
fucking
the
dining
Lido
room.
deck.
Yeah, exactly. You know, you walk into the fucking buffet, and there's like, Dave King from Flog Molly getting fucking breakfast. It's like, it's a pretty interesting thing. But yeah. So I one day I hope to get on the Salty Dog cruise. But like overall, like I do love this album. I do love Big Lizard better. I just don't own Big Lizard. If I had it in my collection, that's the one we would be talking about. And
Actually, Paul, one year when I was down the shore, I've talked about it on the podcast before. There was a shop on the boardwalk in Ocean City, New Jersey called Shore Things. That's the front half of the store was your very generic New Jersey boardwalk beach store with, boogie boards and fucking sandals and nonsense. But the back half of it was a record store. And I remember sending Paul a text because on the wall they had if I remember correctly, it was an original pressing of I wanted for some reason. No, you know what? I was thinking. I sent you. They had a mono Beatles pressing. It was an original
right.
Big Illusion in My Backyard, and it was like $95. And
Yep.
I was prepared to drop $95 if Paul wanted it, but he said no.
Yep. Nope. I did not want you to drop $95 on the record, but I appreciate the thought. I appreciate the idea of it. It wasn't even my birthday, so would have been weird. Unlike Tuesday. Tuesday's my birthday. If you want to go and buy it for me now, I'll be okay with that.
Well, sadly, Sure Things is now gone.
What the fuck, Adam? Just ruin it for me. You just ruined my birthday.
It ruined fucking every time.
Record store in that boardwalk mall in Ocean City.
There is, yeah. It's. I for some reason I want to say it's actually like what the record store that was in Shore Things moved to the Shore Mall, whatever the fuck it's called,
Boardwalk
the Shore
Mall.
Boardwalk Mall on Ocean City. But I never. It's weird because I used to specifically every year I went down would always go and look at the Shore Things, like what they had at Shore Things. But ever since it's been in the mall, I've never fucking looked through records of that place.
The Boardwalk Mall is a weird, strange place.
I always take my kids there because my oldest son is he's a fan of all things like monsters and creatures and animals and stuff, and the one store has a lot of collectibles, and it's a lot of like Pokemon and like Godzilla and like Yu-Gi-Oh type shit. So he's a big fan of that.
Very nice.
No.
Very
nice. Paul,
Beelzebubba. Beelzebubba. Yep. I mean, I've said everything I need to say about it. Kristin, do you have anything to add?
No. I'm sorry. I'm just like out of it today.
You're out of it every time you're on the podcast. It's fine.
I've been out of it the last few days.
Like that's like your excuse. It's like this, we're gonna have Kristin on. Don't worry, she'll be out of it, but it'll be great.
Listen, I said I started off with a migraine, so
yes.
I'm working it out.
We hope that you are feeling better. Hopefully, we haven't made the migraine
any
worse.
You're fine. It's improving, but
good.
I mean, no, I don't have anything else to say about this album in particular.
Okay,
I'm good. Thanks.
Cool. Like I said, I think it's great. What's that?
I said thanks for checking.
Yeah. No, it's a great album, great band, great people, very approachable people. So that I love it. Adam, do you have any thoughts of this? Any additional thoughts on the album?
No, just that like I said before really listening to this album for the episode, like my only real exposure to them was that Greatest Hits album. So I kind of look forward to diving into more. Actually, like now that I see that they have a, it's always interesting to me when like there's a comedian I enjoy who has a special on Netflix, and he recorded the special at the Troc.
Neat.
And so it's always interesting to me to I fucking been to that place. So now I'm really interested in listening to the live album. But I'm interested in listening to more than just the Greatest Hits.
Okay. Yep. No, it's good, and some of their stuff that's not like like their most popular songs are really, really great songs. Like I'd venture to say that like a song like Taco Land is maybe better than Punk Rock Girl. I mean, maybe that's an unpopular opinion, but like it's not their most popular song, but it's a fucking great
But
song.
it's not on this album.
It's not.
Is it?
I'm just saying. No, it's not. Taco Land's not on this. But I'm just saying in general because you look at, you know what I mean. Like they have so much stuff, and like there's really a lot more depth to this band than just Punk Rock Girl, and I think that's what a lot of people get. Punk Rock Girl and Stewart, like those are the songs that people get the most caught up on, and I like both of them. It's just
punched at a frat party.
Oh, fun. That's no good. Do you want to tell that story? How did that happen?
So my ex-boyfriend was the vice president of a fraternity, and we were at a party, and he was off doing whatever. And his big brother was like, "Oh, Kristin, you should sing Stewart."
Okay.
So I did, and people didn't like that, and some dude said something shitty to me, and then my ex-boyfriend was like, "What did you say?" And like I kind of got in the middle, and punches were
punched.
happening, and I kind of got hit.
Sounds like a typical frat party there. Like, you know,
frat.
Yes, I was gonna say on this album they may have something to say about frats and whatnot. And
So I got punched.
Nice. Because
everybody was like, "What the fuck is that shit?" Because nobody understands the Dead Milkmen.
No, they do not. I'm getting another beer.
I was thinking, like, if you just handed this album to a young person, I feel like I have the nostalgia associated with the Dead Milkmen, but I feel like if somebody handed me this album or like said, "Hey, you should listen to the Dead Milkmen," and I had never heard of them, I feel like now I'd probably be like, "What is this?" I don't know that I would be as into them.
Okay. And I think it's a really fair statement. You know, because they are, you know, you think about like I mean, I'm still fucking weird, but like I was definitely weirder as like a, you know, a preteen and a teenager, just kind of looking to find my place in the world. Like I definitely, you know, so I would actually be interested to see, like, Adam, I mean, you're like 15 years old with like 75 kids. So does that count?
It's interesting, like thinking about it, like I'm curious of like I had the benefit of being exposed to this band by, you know, an older brother, and it's always like the thing where, you know, your older brothers are always, you know, the coolest fucking people, and your older siblings are always the coolest people in the world.
You're goddamn right we are.
Yeah.
I'm the youngest, so
I'm curious if I had discovered this band not through you, if I would enjoy them as much as I do.
Okay. All right. Well, it's funny you mentioned, Kristin, like, you know, what would the younger generation be into this album? And we actually,
whose opinion than ours.
17-month-old?
18-month-old now at the time of the podcast. 18-month-old, yes. And we are going to go with she is officially finally fucking walking. So it's official. It's been, yes, she is officially walking. Regina is walking around and, you know, doing her thing. And what's that?
Once they start walking, it's all downhill from there.
It is all downhill from there. So
she's in the cage. She's fine.
Yeah, right. No, she's walking all around the cage. Oh, so funniest thing. This is actually pretty funny. So we have this, like, you know, like I stopped calling it a cage, even though it's a cage. But like
playpen.
Well, yeah, that's the other thing too. But it's basically two, like, you know, it's supposed to, you know, block the steps, but you can put it together to turn it into like a playpen. I started calling it the enclosure. She got
plenty of enrichment in her enclosure.
There is tons of it. She got so pissed off at me the other day. So the way this goes is it has these bars, right? It has like with the two sections, they like connect. and it has these bars, and you can adjust it to different sizes or different shapes and whatnot. And you unscrew the one thing, and then you can adjust it like the way it all clicks together. So I guess one of them was loose, and she completely unscrewed the plastic part, which basically releases the whole pole. So she took the whole pole off, like not of like the thing wasn't in danger of falling apart or anything like that, because it's a lot of pieces together. Like you could lose a part and it stays together, unlike that bridge in Baltimore. But was that too soon? Was that too soon? I don't know. Too soon? No. But at any rate, so you could take the one pole out and it's still fine, but she took it out, and like, I was like doing dishes, and I walked back in and I see she has it. I'm like, oh, look at you, you're so smart. She got fucking pissed off at me when I took it from her. Like, she didn't want to give it to me. She's like fighting me on it, and then she was like mad at me for like she started crying, like to the point where Katie had to come into the room to console her. That's how pissed off she was at me.
Emotional support pole, Paul.
I guess it was. But
how dare you?
Yeah, no, she was really mad at me. It was pretty funny. But as far as the younger generation goes, our 18-month-old daughter Regina, she loves this album. I had to actually play it for her a few times. Like the first time I played it, like right away she was singing and listening and kicking her feet and whatnot.
Well, because they're weird, like they're
they
catchy
are, yeah,
and like
yeah.
goofy.
Yeah,
I can see why a toddler would enjoy them.
Yep. But I did. I ended up played it for her a couple more times. We had a couple car rides, and she had the same reaction every time. So it's definitely a solid like on this album here. Beelzebubba. So I have, for season 1, I have officially won the affection of my daughter, because there's no coming back for Adam.
The only shot I had is if she didn't like this album and the next album. So
right. So we
factor.
Yep. So I got 16 likes and 3 dislikes. And I still have 1 album to go, and Adam has 15 likes and 5 dislikes, and he has no more albums, so he can't come back to take this from me. And there are 10 in different albums, which we're going to go into the tiebreaker, which don't matter now. But I am kind of curious to see what, like, I actually think some of those like early albums that I didn't play for her, I am kind of curious to see, like, what she would think of like Bright Eyes, I'm Wide Awake It's Morning, and the Taking Back Sunday, because there's been some stuff where it surprised me. Like, I didn't think she was going to like it, and she did like it, and vice versa. So, Kristin, you're the special guest. What are your top 3 songs?
This is hard.
That's what she said.
I have to say, I have to say Punk Rock Girl.
Okay.
And then the guitar song, and then a tie between Life is Shit and Stewart.
Okay. Cool. Adam, your top 3 songs?
I got 3 songs with an honorable mention. I'm going to say, just because of my early exposure through the greatest hits, I got to go Stewart and Punk Rock Girl. I'm going to go Life is Shit with an honorable mention of Ringo Buys a Rifle.
Okay, so that song, Ringo Buys a Rifle, and what's the other one? Fucking hold on. I got the album right here.
Howard Beware.
Howard Beware are 2 songs that, like, I kind of forgot about, and as I listened to this album, grew on me. Like, they definitely, I'm like, man, these are really, really good songs. Those are 2 of the songs that I don't recall ever seeing them play live. But because I honestly, I've kind of forgot about them, but definitely those 2 songs were like songs where I was like, fuck, I forgot how fun these songs are and how good they are. But they did not make it onto my top 3. I actually have a top 3, and I have 2 honorable mentions. Life is Shit is my number 1. My number 2 is I Walk the Thinnest Line, because anytime they play that live, I Walk the Thinnest Line, it's so fucking, it's great. Everybody goes nuts. It's awesome. And then actually my third is Brat and Frat. I like that. I like that song, man. Brat and the Frat. I like that song. And my 2 honorable mentions that even though I said, hey, there's so many other songs other than Punk Rock Girl. Punk Rock Girl is still a really good fucking song. So my honorable mentions are Punk Rock Girl and Stewart. Because Stewart's another one, and kind of the reason too they didn't end up on the top on my top 3 is because honestly, Stewart live is better than the recorded version of Stewart. Kristin, would you agree?
My version at the Skulls Fraternity House in Westchester was the better version.
But, was that the better version? Okay.
Yes. But yeah, no, I actually think you're right that their live versions are better.
And there is something about like seeing a band live and everybody in the crowd going jumping Jesus on a pogo stick. You know what I mean? And it's like it's cool. It's cool. And like Stewart is definitely one of those songs that like I said is much better live than the recorded version. Same thing with Back to Big Lizard in the Backyard. Bitch and Camaro is better live than it is on the album.
I don't agree with you.
Oh,
no,
see,
the last time we saw them, they dragged out that intro so long, talking about weird shit, and I was like, no. I just want it to be the way I know it. Stop adding weird shit. That's
what I like about it, though. That's what I like about it being live is that you don't know what they're going to talk about. You know, which is kind of cool. Which
way, but like, there's also something comforting about hearing it the way you've heard it 100 times.
That's true too, but still, you know, there's also something boring about something being the same way for 100 times. You know what I mean? So no, like which brings me back to the Dave Blood Memorial concert, where Bitch and Camaro actually, like, Rodney basically went on and just talked about Dave Blood, and what I was like basically almost like a eulogy into it. It was really cool, like to the point where, and like anytime they do it, I've never seen this happen. So Dean Clean, the drummer, solid fucking drummer, solid punk rock drummer, solid drummer in general, has never, like, no matter what shit Rodney's talking about at the beginning of Bitch and Camaro, is always just on and just does this thing. He's in his zone. He does this thing. But at the memorial, you saw him lose beat a couple times because he was actually listening. And that's, you know, like I said, that's what I like about it. That's what I like about Bitch and Camaro better live than on the album. But the album's still fun too when he makes fun of the Philadelphia area cover bands and the Jersey Shore, which really isn't much different now. You know what I mean? You go to North Wildwood and every bit of Bitch and Camaro from 1983 is relevant to North Wildwood today. So yeah. So it is pretty cool. But yeah, so Stewart is my my honorable mention, as well as Punk Rock Girl, just because, like I said, I felt, you know, it's more of the live thing that which is what kept it off my top 3. So we're going to start back with you, Kristin, your least favorite.
My Many Smells.
Okay.
Because it was like, I couldn't think of one that I really didn't like, and that one just is like the grossest one.
Okay. All right. There you go. Grandma eating the prunes and whatnot.
Yeah.
So, yep. Adam?
I had a hard time with this, actually, picking the least favorite. So I just went with this. I've listened to this album, I don't know, at least 10 times, maybe a little bit more over the course of the week. And the song.
Wait, I'm sorry. Real quick, before you get into this, can I ask you something?
Yes.
Did you get into a fight? As you're like leaning into the camera there, I'm noticing like your nose is a little enlarged. You got like is Katai beating you? Blink twice if you need us to call the police.
No. Something may or may not have fallen and hit me in the face at work.
Ah.
Yeah. A box. A box may or may not have fallen and smacked me in the face.
Wow. Well, it's an improvement. I just wanted to say that much.
Yep.
It is an improvement.
Yes, I've listened to this album at least 10 times throughout the course of the week, and my least favorite is the one song that I can't fucking remember on this album. That's "I Against Osborne."
Okay. All right. We are in agreement there. That is actually my least favorite too. "I Against Osborne" is my least favorite song on this album. But I have a dishonorable mention of "Everybody's Got Nice Stuff But Me." You know, there were a couple songs that, like I said, when I compared it, and I really truly had to do that. I had to go back because I've made the statement so many times that "Big Lizard in My Backyard" is my favorite album by the Dead Milkmen. This is my second favorite album. But you know, it's on the podcast because it's the one I own. And then listening to this, I'm like, fuck, have I been wrong? And I'm not. because there are songs on here such as, you know, I Against Osborne. Everybody's got, you know, nice stuff with me, and there's a couple more like My Many Smells. It's like there's some filler songs on this, but
Yeah.
with that, there's definitely a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 songs out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13,
These
14,
songs are
15,
on the
16,
album.
17 songs on the album, and you have 12 of them that are just fucking top-notch albums. Like, honestly, I like Born to Love Volcanoes could have ended up as an honorable mention. You know, I do love Smoking Banana Peels, but that's just, you know, that's a song that, again, that's another live thing that's just fun to see that live. But yeah,
I'm
man,
always
it's
like saying mites are living in your eyelashes.
yes. Talk cereal to me. You know, it's no, it's a great album. It really is. It's just that whereas and this happens, I think, a lot with bands' first albums, that like you have this first album because, you know, you haven't been discovered, so you put out all this, you know, all of your best stuff ends up on your first album. So that's why a lot of debut albums become like the best albums of the bands. And then 6 months later, you have to write albums. You know, you have to write other stuff, and you have to do more, and you know, so sometimes it ends up with not the best songs on, you know, later albums, because you still have to, you know, hit a quota, so to speak. But overall, nah, man, I do love this album. I kind of, you know, I don't know that I really delved as deeply into the other Dead Milkmen albums as I did this album and Big Lizard in My Backyard. So like I kind of want to go back. You know, maybe I'll do that during the break of season 1, season 2, and kind of like listen to Metaphysical Graffiti and Not Richard But Dick and Eat Your Paisley and Bucky Fellini, because I don't know that I've ever really like listened to any of those albums. Like, I know the albums, I'm familiar with them, I know the songs, especially the stuff that they play live, and they're kind of like the hits, but I don't know that I've ever gotten deep into those albums. And
I don't think I have either, actually.
yeah, and
Maybe
that's the
should
thing.
look into them as well.
And that's what this and this is what I love about it, because, you know, what I do have a lot of records, so I don't listen to every single fucking record I have. And I know I'm one of those people who I'm like, ooh, I need that record, I got to buy that record. So I buy that record and I listen to it once, and I don't necessarily listen to it again. You know, like I needed Lenny Kravitz's Greatest Hits album, which I've listened to twice. No, actually, no, it's not even that one. It's not even the Greatest Hits. It's Let Love Rule. It's Lenny Kravitz's Let Love Rule, and I've listened to it twice. But I needed to have that album. What's that?
Do any of us really need?
Lenny is looking really good these days. Also.
Apparently, he's very celibate.
Lenny's always looking good. Let's be honest.
No, but he's looking extra fine.
Okay, all right. Hey, whatever. I mean, I wouldn't turn him down.
Basically naked in his latest video, and he looks real good.
Stop! He has a latest video.
Oh yeah.
Oh, it's a good. Oh wait, Kristin, did you do stuff to this video? What do you want to? You're turning red there. Wow. Wow, she's like,
Jesus.
Wow, look at that. Your whole face is red now. There's something about the Lenny Kravitz new video. Yeah, sure, a hot flash.
No, he looks really good.
Is there a rabbit in that room?
And no, not that kind of rabbit.
All right. So,
I'm gonna look up Lenny Kravitz.
There you go. So at any rate, Dead Milkmen, Beelzebubba. Did I say it right? Beelzebubba, whatever. I don't know. Beelzebubba. But at any rate, so Discogs value here, and we know Adam has all of his albums done. I have this album, and I have one more left. Last week, Adam picked the last episode by De Facto, which we're going to go through the ceremonial box of Michael on this one anyway. But this was the album where I've said I think I have my shot at possibly hitting that average that I needed for my two albums to overtake Adam, but unfortunately it's still not enough. This is a 2015 Translucent Blue Record Store Day release. So all right, and I swear to God, I am not talking bullshit on this, because I actually I needed to remember the story, so I went back and looked at my messages. And I also, Jesus Christ, I can't get this in. I also need to somewhat apologize to the members of the Dead Milkmen about this and the 2015 Record Store Day releases about this album, as well as Big Lizard in My Backyard. I'm somewhat responsible for these albums happening. So what happened was there's a guy who is the vice president of distribution at URP Records, which while I was working at Soundstage Direct, I became friends with being the buyer there. And I know they were doing certain pressings and stuff. And also URP is basically, that's Jack White's distributor, which is also URP is pretty much behind all of the Record Store Day stuff. It's kind of, I think it's like a kind of a branched off from URP, but they're still very much involved, and they were very much involved at this time. And so just talking, because I know there were a couple things that URP put out, I was just like, man, you know what you guys should do, man? Fucking re-release the Dead Milkmen albums. I was like, dude, if you did Big Lizard in My Backyard on yellow vinyl, and Beelzebubba on like blue vinyl or something like that, and then he chimes in, he's like, what about eat your Paisley on Paisley vinyl? I'm like, dude, that would be fucking amazing. And like, we're like going back and forth talking about this, and fast forward to 2015, and I get this fucking DM from him. He's like, oh, by the way, Record Store Day, bang. And I was like, son of a bitch. I'm like, can I get copies of these, since this is basically my idea? And he's like, yeah, no, you gotta go buy them. I was like, motherfucker. So the reason I got to apologize to Dead Milkmen is because these actually, they weren't authorized. Those 2015 releases were not authorized by the Dead Milkmen. Basically, they didn't have their publishing rights. It was basically a Taylor Swift type of situation. They didn't have their publishing rights, and if you don't have the publishing rights to your albums, anybody could do whatever they're going to do with your albums, as long as they pay the publishing rights to make that happen. So Record Store Day paid whoever owned the publishing rights at this time, paid to have these things re-released in the way that they wanted to do them. And this particular one, it was like there were 1,500 and like 1,400 are blue vinyl, and then 100 are white vinyl. Obviously I have a blue one. Same thing with the Dead Milkmen. I think like it was it's one or the other, but it was like 1,500 units, 1,400 are yellow, and 100 are green. You know what I mean? So, obviously the green and the white are a little more, they're rare, so they're probably worth more money. Actually, you don't even see them on Discogs. But yeah, so they did not own their publishing rights, so they actually weren't behind these releases. They have since, and I'm going to say since like within the last 6 months, have actually gained their publishing rights back. Because at one point, relatively recently, all the Dead Milkmen stuff was taken down off of the streaming sites, Apple Music, Spotify, all those streaming sites. It was taken down because they regained their publishing rights. So the old publisher had to remove them, and now the Dead Milkmen have reinstated the publishing. They have their publishing, and they've reinstated the digital downloads and the streaming options of these albums. And now that money is now directly going to the Dead Milkmen. Whereas like this album here, this Translucent one, Translucent Blue, which I don't remember what I paid for it, they didn't get a dime for that, which is kind of sucky. But that's the whole thing with Taylor and Taylor's version. She wanted to buy her publishing rights, and Skipper Braun came in and took them, and that's why you have Taylor's versions. So
I mean, you've bought enough concert tickets. I feel like it makes up for an album.
I
hope so, but
when should we be expecting Big Lizard in My Backyard, Rodney's version?
I don't know. Hopefully soon. Maybe I'll ask him, see when that's happening. But at any rate, so this copy here, like I said, is a 2015 Translucent Blue Record Store Day release. Has some cool etchings on it, which is how I was able to verify the exact release. But I already knew because it's my copy. But it's a very good plus value of this album is $48.75. Bringing it to $49. Adam, if you recall, it's actually less, because we actually looked this up last week. It's actually about $6 less than it was last week.
Yeah.
Yeah. So sometimes the values just change.
If you want, I'll
What?
give you what we looked it up at last week.
No, it's fine. It's fine because I'll tell you what. I'll take what we looked it up at last week if I get to go reevaluate fucking Steel Train.
Fucking Steel Train.
No, you won't let me go reevaluate. No, it's fine. No, it's all good. It's all good. So my very good plus value on this is $49. Bringing my running total up to $874. Adam, as we already know, is at $1,040. He broke $1,000 on the Discogs value for season 1. So it puts me at a negative of $166. So I'm going to put this back up on the shelf here. And I'm going to pull down. Ah, shit. Did you guys see that?
Do I get to present the Big D necklace next
week? You get to present the Big D next week. Yes. Fuck, I just broke a fucking candle. Damn it.
Jesus.
At any rate, so I have brought down the box of Michael here. This is ceremonial. There's Michael's stripe because there is literally only one envelope left in the box of Mike. We actually already know what it is. If you guys were here, Kristin, you would be pulling this right now, but nobody's here. I'm all by my lonesome and breaking fucking candles and shit.
When I hear you say it's ceremonial, it just makes me think of Weird Science, where they have the bras on their head. They're like, it's ceremonial. Anyway,
okay.
Go on.
I have headphones on my head, but not a bra. So this is envelope number 4. This is my 25th record, and it will be our last episode of season 1. It is a Booze and Vinyl episode. We'll be presenting the Big D, and also we will be announcing part of the whoever wins the Big D, which at this point is probably going to be Adam, but who knows? Maybe this album will be worth $167, and I'll pull it out. I might make it worth $167 since I control all this, but we'll see. We'll see. Part of winning the Big D is that you get to decide what the first episode of season 2 is going to be. But first we got to get through the last episode of season 1. Oh my God. It's been like 90 years since we fucking started this.
84, 86 years. Yeah.
86, man. It's been so long. But our last episode of season 1 will be none other than Depeche Mode Violator. So, we got it right here.
Because it's a final episode, is it going to be like a fancy episode or like?
I don't know. I think we should all dress up like old people, so that way we look. You know what I mean? You can see how long.
100th day of school.
Yeah, 100th day of school type of thing. Yeah, that thing goes through my mind. Hold on, let me see if I don't break another fucking candle. Jesus Christ!
Yeah,
got glass on the ground now.
Was it lit?
No.
Okay.
On
fire.
Yeah, no, I mean it's going to be a Booze and Vinyl, so that'll be fun. Well, like Tom should be back in the house, and Kristin, you said you wanted to come and talk about this one as well.
Sure.
So you'll be on. You'll really, because I actually looked. This is your record-breaking 8th episode. You're going to increase your record because next week will be your 9th episode. Tom, it will only be Tom's 8th episode, and that includes random record episodes and stuff like that. So other than me and Adam, you will be on the podcast, the next, the number 3, I guess, of the podcast. So there you go. So yes, next week, Depeche Mode Violator. I am looking forward to this. Adam, are you familiar with Depeche Mode or Violator at all?
I mean, I know who Depeche Mode is.
Okay.
I know Depeche Mode. I don't know. I'm sure I know something off of Violator, but off the top of my head, I don't. But I know who Depeche Mode is. I'm not,
Okay. I know there's definitely one song you'll know off of this album, possibly 2. And I honestly think that you are going to hate this fucking album. Probably. If you come back liking this album, I will be fucking shocked. I really will. Yeah. So
anything by
I'm looking it up right now to see what I know.
Yeah. So I do
29 songs.
What's that?
29 songs.
Yeah. Yep. It's only 9 songs.
I do know at least one song on this album.
Yep. So it'll be interesting. I'm actually very, very interested to hear your your feelings about this album and how you react to it, and so it'll be good. I love this album. Obviously, it's in my 25. I'd probably go so far as to say this is one of my top 10 albums of all time. So we'll go from there and we'll have a good time. Kristin, do you have anything else to add to the Dead Milkmen?
I do not.
Do you have anything else you want to say about Lenny Kravitz?
No, I'm good.
Oh, you're good. You're good now. Okay.
No, I was trying to find the song. I think it's called Human.
Okay. All right.
I could be wrong.
All right. Well, thank you. I will look it up. But thank you for coming on, and we will see you next week, hopefully in the Ottsville Record Garage.
I believe so, as long as it's not going to be recorded super late at night.
Okay. All right. Cool. I don't think it is. Adam, anything else to add to the Dead Milkmen?
Same as I always say, listen to it and form your own opinions because it's a good one.
All right. Cool. All right. I have nothing else to say. So on that note, it is time.